It wasn't the accent, the distance, or even the lies that finally exposed the truth. It was that one quiet moment when she looked straight into the camera and basically asked the question everyone watching at home was already screaming, "Am I the drama?" Because if you've been watching 90 Day Fiancé before the 90 days closely this season, you already know something about this storyline has felt off. Not the usual messy. Not the typical long-distance chaos. Something deeper. Something that TLC edited just clean enough to keep casual viewers comfortable. But here's the part TLC cameras didn't show.
From the very beginning, the edit wanted you to pick a side. They framed the relationship like a classic before the 90 days setup: hopeful American, complicated overseas partner, emotional investment rising fast. We've seen this formula 100 times. It's practically the franchise's DNA. Except this time, the cracks started showing way earlier than production probably expected. I know what you're thinking, every couple has awkward moments. Every season has red flags. But listen to this. Viewers on the 90 Day Fiancé subreddit started clocking inconsistencies before the third episode even aired. Not small nitpicks. We're talking timeline confusion, social media behavior that didn't match the storyline, and one very suspicious live stream that disappeared almost as quickly as it went up. And that's where the 90-day dream quietly began to wobble. Because on screen, we were watching someone who seemed genuinely blindsided by the relationship tension. Emotional, vulnerable, maybe a little dramatic, sure, but heartbreak does that to people. Off-screen, fans started noticing a very different energy. Around episode 4, Twitter, or X if we're being technical, split straight down the middle. One side was defending her hard, saying she was being gaslit in real time. The other side wasn't buying the tears at all. They were pulling receipts, old posts, deleted comments, even screenshots from before filming allegedly started. And if you've been in this fandom long enough, you already know, when Reddit starts bringing timelines, things are about to get messy. But stay with me, because the real turning point didn't happen during the big fight everyone's talking about. It happened in a much quieter scene that most viewers almost skipped past. You remember the one. The body language shifted first. Not the words, the energy. That subtle pause before answering a simple question. The over-explaining. The way the conversation kept circling back to the same defensive point. Hardcore viewers noticed immediately, and about 2 minutes into that episode, yeah, this is where my real ones lean in. If you've been following these breakdowns and you're obsessed with catching what TLC tries to smooth over, this is exactly why people subscribe. Not for the surface drama, but for the patterns hiding underneath. You already know, because the more this story unfolded, the harder it became to tell who was reacting, and who was performing. Now here's where things get uncomfortable. Behind the scenes, fans started digging into Instagram activity during the filming window. Nothing officially confirmed, but the timing raised eyebrows. Posts that didn't match the emotional timeline we were being shown. Follows and unfollows that suggested communication might not have been as broken as the show implied. I know, social media isn't always proof. But in the 90-day universe, it's rarely meaningless. And suddenly, the question wasn't just, is this relationship in trouble? It became, who actually knows more than they're admitting? This is where the 90-day dream quietly fell apart for a lot of viewers. Because once that seed of doubt gets planted, every scene starts to feel different. Every tear, every confrontation, every moment of confusion, even the airport energy hit differently on rewatch. You could literally see the fandom split in real time. Reddit threads with hundreds of comments. TikTok breakdowns pulling frame-by-frame reactions. Twitter spaces debating whether production was protecting someone, or exposing them. But here's the part that really shook longtime fans. Mid-season, a clip from an old interview started circulating again. Not widely, mostly buried in deep fan spaces. In it, she talks about how she handles conflict in relationships. The wording, let's just say it didn't exactly match the on-screen narrative of being completely blindsided. Coincidence? Maybe. But in this franchise, patterns matter. Because if you've watched enough before the 90 days, you know TLC loves a slow burn reveal. They don't always give you the full picture up front. Sometimes they let the audience fight it out first. And fight they did. Team sympathy versus team side eye. Some viewers still insist she was emotionally overwhelmed and reacting in real time. Others are convinced we're watching someone who knows exactly how reality TV works, and exactly how to stay at the center of the storyline. But the moment that really changed everything. That confessional. You know the one. The half laugh. The self-aware pause. And then that line. The one that basically broke the fourth wall without technically breaking it. Am I the drama? On the surface, it sounded almost joking. Self-deprecating. A little tongue-in-cheek. But longtime viewers felt the chill immediately. Because when someone in the 90-day universe starts questioning their own edit out loud, it usually means one of two things. Either they're genuinely spiraling, or they know exactly how this story is landing with the audience. And right after that episode aired, Reddit exploded again. One user wrote, "She's either completely self-aware or completely in denial. There is no middle." Another said, "Production is letting her hang herself with her own words." Brutal. But that's the fandom. Meanwhile, over on Twitter, sympathy posts were still racking up thousands of likes. Emotional clips. Slow zoom edits. People saying they saw themselves in her reaction, in the frustration, in the feeling of not being heard. And honestly, that's what makes this storyline so addictive. Because both things can be true. She can be emotional and overwhelmed, and still be contributing to the chaos. He can be confusing and inconsistent, and still not be the full villain the edit might suggest. That's the uncomfortable gray area this season keeps circling back to. And if you've made it this far into the season, you've probably noticed one more thing TLC hasn't addressed directly. The pacing of the conflicts. Big emotional spikes, followed by oddly calm resets. Conversations that feel unfinished. Tension that disappears just long enough for the next blow up to hit harder. Veteran viewers know that rhythm isn't accidental. It's either very messy real life, or very strategic storytelling. So when she finally asked the question, "Am I the drama?" it didn't just land as a funny reality TV moment. It felt like a crack in the fourth wall. Like for 1 second, the person inside the relationship and the person inside the reality show collided. And that's why the fandom still can't agree on what we're actually watching. Is this the story of someone genuinely in over their head emotionally? Or are we watching one of the most self-aware players before the 90 days has had in years? Because going into the next episodes, the stakes are very real. The visa timeline isn't slowing down. The trust issues definitely aren't resolved. And if the off-screen rumors keep swirling the way they have been, this situation could get even messier than TLC planned for. So now I want to know where you stand. Is she truly overwhelmed by a relationship that spiraled out of control? Or is she a lot more aware of the chaos than she's letting on? And more importantly, when the cameras stop rolling, do you think this couple actually has a future, or are we watching the slow collapse in real time?